What if everyone lived underground? Imagine a world where the sun never rises and the sky remains out of sight. A world where every city, home, and park exists beneath the ground, where all of humanity has retreated below the surface, forging a new civilization in the Earth's hidden chambers. What would life be like if everyone lived underground? The answer weaves together threads of science, sociology, psychology, engineering, and the endless ingenuity of people adapting to extraordinary change. First, let us consider why humanity might abandon the surface. Perhaps the scorching rays of an unstable sun, a catastrophic change in climate, or relentless exposure to cosmic radiation made life above ground untenable. Maybe overpopulation forced cities to expand downwards, or technological advances made the subterranean world too appealing to resist. Whatever the catalyst, the result would be epical, the greatest migration in human history, leading billions to build their lives beneath the soil, rock, and mantle of the Earth itself. Even before delving into the day-to-day implications, the sheer scale of underground habitation is staggering. Cities and towns would be replaced with sprawling networks of chambers, tunnels, and vast caverns, interconnected by transportation systems snaking beneath continents. Human ingenuity would transform geology into architecture. Limestone caverns become shopping centers, basaltic vaults look out over subterranean lakes, and crystalline veins form glittering corridors. With endless barriers to overcome, designing these spaces would demand advances far beyond anything we know today. The first and perhaps most fundamental need to address in this new world would be light. Sunlight, taken for granted on the surface, cannot penetrate miles of earth and stone. Artificial illumination becomes both necessity and art form. Early societies might rely on simple bulbs and LEDs, but quickly, the psychological and biological importance of light would spur innovation. Scientists would develop bioluminescent bacteria or advanced fiber optics to channel what little sunlight makes it down, creating glowing skylights and walls that mimic the warmth and rhythm of day and night. Circadian rhythms, the internal biological clocks tied to sunlight, would otherwise risk falling out of sync, influencing sleep, mood, and even physical health. Maintaining this delicate balance becomes key to the health of an underground society. Yet light is only the beginning. Air is next. Ventilation and air renewal, a minor concern on the open plains, become a central pillar of subterranean engineering. Complex systems of ducts, fans, and filters must circulate fresh air from the surface, purify it, and manage temperature and humidity. Plants, once decorative, become essential green machines. Lush hydroponic gardens line shared spaces, not just feeding society, but scrubbing the air of carbon dioxide, replenishing oxygen, and providing precious bursts of nature in these fabricated environments. Water, equally crucial, presents both challenges and solutions. While underground aquifers provide a natural source, careful management is critical to prevent flooding, contamination, or depletion. Pioneering systems reclaim every droplet. Gray water from faucets feeds through filtration systems. Condensation is collected from the recycled atmosphere. Major underground rivers and reservoirs serve dual purposes as both sources of water and scenic centers of recreation. The challenge of food spurs agricultural revolutions. Without soil or traditional sunlight, humanity masters hydroponics and aeroponics, growing crops in stacked chambers beneath powerful artificial lights or bioluminescent canopies. Mushroom cultivation thrives in these moist, dark places. Protein sources like insects or lab-grown meats supplement diets, reducing the space and resources needed for traditional livestock. Community farms and kitchen gardens become common features, their harvest relied upon as much for mental well-being as for sustenance. Society adapts, sprawling not upward and outward, but downward and inward. Cities become vertical as well as horizontal, with communities stacked atop one another, connected by elevators, escalators, and meandering ramps. Living quarters cluster along the best-lit and best-ventilated routes, with larger communal spaces branching out toward deeper infrastructure. Soundproofing, once a mild concern, is now imperative. Too much noise echoes hauntingly through the stone, so engineers craft materials and structures to muffle footsteps, conversations, and the countless hums and beeps of machines. Privacy is both acoustic and psychological luxury. Transportation morphs as well. No longer do cars race across asphalt under the sun. Now electric trams, maglev trains, or even conveyor belts streamline movement through the labyrinthine tunnels. Bicycles and small electric vehicles, engineered for narrow passages and steep inclines, offer flexible and personal modes of movement. Navigating this three-dimensional world requires innovative mapping technologies, with wayfinding systems guiding residents by color, light, and sound. Governance and law must adapt too. The proximity of so many people in such constrained quarters breeds both cooperation and friction. Social contracts evolve to respect quiet, cleanliness, and shared resources. Trash, pollution, and personal space become issues of collective survival rather than individual choice. Dispute resolution mechanisms range from peer mediation to high-tech monitoring, balancing security with autonomy. As habits change, so does culture. Art finds new media, with murals painted in glowing mineral paints or sculptures carved directly from cavern walls. Music reverberates through the stone, bending familiar notes into new harmonics. Festivals honor the days just as much as the nights, celebrating artificial sunrises, power surges marking the presence of abundant light, and reunions with surface explorers. Stories pass down memories of the sky, the stars, the feel of wind, and the infinite blues and greens no longer seen. Spirituality, too, is reimagined. Old places of worship gain new meaning. Temples, churches, and mosques become refuges of calm, designed to connect worshippers with the ideas of light, hope, and the universe beyond. Even those not disposed to organized religion find solace in the constructed gardens, waterfalls, and open spaces where sound, color, and scent reconnect them to a lost natural world. Healthcare adapts to new needs. The lack of natural sunlight drives up vitamin D deficiencies. Solutions include supplements and timed ultraviolet lights mimicking sunrise. Ergonomic interventions reduce the musculoskeletal strain of narrower living. New allergens arise from mold and damp, and emergency services innovate new ways to deliver care through miles of winding tunnels. Mental health support becomes vital as the psychological effects of enclosure, disconnection from the natural world, and the pressure of constant proximity take their toll. Education shifts, both in content and delivery. Children grow up never having seen the surface, so curricula incorporate simulated experiences of the outside world. Virtual reality recreates forests, rivers, and cityscapes under the open sky. Lessons emphasize geology, engineering, and resource management, since generational survival depends on everyone's understanding of their world beneath the crust. Field trips include underground caves, engineered gardens, and rarest of all, supervised excursions to see the real sky. The economy reshapes along new axes. Resource extraction and recycling become as important as traditional industry. Energy, once abundant from wind and solar, must now be harnessed underground. Tidal energy from deep lakes, geothermal from the planet's own warmth, or nuclear power in shielded chambers. Manufacturing, digital economies, and service industries adapt to new logistical realities, prioritizing sustainability and minimization of waste. Emerging from these adjustments, an underground society would soon boast its own unique forms of entertainment, fashion, and language. Sports evolve to suit the environment. Zero-gravity games in pressure-controlled chambers, racing through tunnels, or team labyrinth competitions. Clothing designed for constant temperature and low-light environments incorporates light-reflective materials, insulation, or even wearable mood lights. Linguistic expressions adapt too. Sunny days might come to mean times of abundance, while reaching the surface implies achieving something nearly impossible. As decades pass, generations born beneath the earth view the surface as legend, a place of dreams, or perhaps danger. Some brave souls, equipped with special suits and advanced gear, venture upwards for resource collection or scientific study. For these explorers, stepping into the open air is both a risk and a rite of passage. The surface becomes mythologized, its images preserved in art and collective memory, its beauty revered and mourned, but for all its challenges, underground civilization fosters remarkable new strengths for humanity. Collaboration becomes second nature. Survival depends on mutual effort, innovation, and adaptability. Communities become tightly knit, with bonds of trust and interdependence growing ever stronger. Art and culture flourish within the limitations of space and light, sparking creativity that turns obstacles into opportunities. Resilience is another legacy. Every child knows the importance of balance in their world, balancing resource use, balancing personal needs with communal survival, balancing the past with the present. This mindset extends to conflict resolution, cooperation between distant communities, and stewardship of the environment. Safeguarding the systems that sustain life becomes the deepest value. Of course, not every day is bright, literally or figuratively. Periods of power loss or infrastructure failure thrust people into darkness, echoing the unpredictability of the surface's storms. Accidents happen, a collapsed tunnel, a flood in an aquifer, or a breach that lets in dangerous gases. Responding to these crises forges a culture that values preparedness, training, and mutual aid. Emergency drills and swift, coordinated responses save lives and reinforce social bonds. Social stratification adapts to these conditions. Rather than being based on proximity to parks, water, or scenic views, status may become linked to access to light, air, and comfort. The best apartments cluster near the green zones, the largest gardens, and most robust environmental controls. Further out or deeper down, conditions may worsen, requiring social programs and policy to prevent the emergence of neglected or impoverished zones. The absence of the regular cycles of night and day radically alters daily schedules. Workers and students adjust to communal clocks, aligned with vital infrastructure such as energy supply, maintenance, and communal services. Some communities experiment with staggered schedules or rolling days, where different groups populate different areas to spread use and reduce crowding. The broader ecosystem above ground changes, too. With humans mostly gone, cities decay, and nature reclaims the land. Plants grow through cracks in concrete, animals roam free, and forests spread into former suburbs. Some communities deploy robotic caretakers to maintain key infrastructure on the surface, harvesting sunlight, conducting weather monitoring, and gathering resources to channel below. Long-term, these once bustling metropolises become overgrown monuments to the past, a poignant reminder visible only to those who dare to visit the world above. Within the underground society, waste management becomes an existential concern. Without vast open land for landfills, waste is rigorously recycled, composted, or repurposed. Nearly every resource is monitored, reclaimed, and reused, fostering a culture of thrift and a respect for material value. Some communities manufacture biodegradable goods exclusively, while others develop in situ resource utilization, extracting minerals and building materials straight from the surrounding stone. In this new world, different societies experiment with physical and social layouts. Some build massive, communal open zones where artificial skies offer an illusion of freedom, punctuated by smaller private rooms radiating outwards. Others embrace modular living, where adaptable pods retract or expand based on need, promoting flexibility and efficiency. Regardless of the layout, every design balances security with psychological comfort, seeking to minimize the claustrophobia and monotony inherent in always living within walls. Communication is lifeblood. Networks of high-speed fiber carry voice, data, and imagery between communities deep beneath the continents. Underground communication relays reach across oceans, linking people with friends and family in distant caverns. Digital platforms become central to culture, learning, and entertainment, whiling away long hours with stories, games, and simulated experiences of the outside world. Art takes on bold new shapes. Subterranean murals use mineral pigments that glow in darkness, telling stories or guiding travelers. Sculptors carve figures whose shadows move as artificial lights change, creating a sense of passage and the illusion of time passing. Musicians experiment with the acoustics of stone, composing haunting melodies that roll through the tunnels and evoke a sense of place and belonging. Dance and theater blend virtual and real, taking advantage of the dreamlike qualities of closed spaces to create immersive performances. Throughout, people never entirely lose their longing for the surface. Some organize expeditions, determined to preserve samples of plants, soil, and air, or to capture moments of sunset and sunrise to store in communal archives. These tokens become symbols of hope and identity, a tangible link to humanity's shared heritage. Scholars record oral histories, chronicling ancient surface customs and preserving languages threatened by isolation. As the centuries go by, this underground existence becomes normal, not a period of exile, but simply the way things are. With ingenuity, artistry, and determination, people craft new kinds of beauty, new forms of connection, and a new balance with the world around them. Underground, the story of humanity continues. Different, perhaps, but no less rich or meaningful. Sometimes, when a new child is born, people still whisper stories of the sky. They speak of the stars and sun, the wind, and the open horizon. And though few may ever venture to see these wonders themselves, the hope remains alive. Maybe, just maybe, one day humanity will return, having learned to cherish the earth on which it walks. But for now, they thrive in the sheltering darkness, turning stone, water, and light into home. In the end, living underground would challenge humanity to its core, forcing adaptation not just in technology, but in spirit. It would demand a reimagining of every habit and tradition, reshaping what it means to be human when separated from the endless blue above. And yet, through cooperation, creativity, and resilience, such a society would find its own forms of light, hope, and joy. After all, the power of humanity has always been to make a home, even in the most unlikely of places.